Hello, everyone. It is April 28th, 2025, and we are live. I'm coming at you from Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's 68 degrees right now. There's no wind, which is good because in New Mexico, it's really windy. People hate it. And no clouds in the sky today, no trails either. Sun's going to set tonight at 7:50 p.m., and it'll rise tomorrow at 6:17 a.m. Days are getting longer, nights are getting shorter. Hope everything's cool out there, people. Um, Hope everything's good. Hope you're not going through anything too intense or too negative, any kind of hassle. Hope things are cool. Hope everything's mellow. And I'll get right to it. Let me. Okay, you guys can see the photo on the screen. You guys, this is one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen in my life. Um, okay. Pictured here are the Mikasa apartments, where I lived between 1989 and 1993 when I was in my late teens and early 20s. One day in 1991 or 1992, I was home alone, just hanging out, and I decided to go outside to get some fresh air. And I went out to the parking lot pictured here. And looked around and looked up, and I couldn't believe what I saw in the sky. It was a wire going across the sky, white in color, and it seemed to be 200 or 300 feet up in the sky. Um, Maybe 150 feet high at the very least. Um, and I was wondering what could possibly be holding up this wire. It was white in color, and it stretched across the sky, I think 300 feet high. And there's no objects that tall in Albuquerque. Certainly not in the direction that this thing was angled at. And I remembered that I had film in the camera inside. So I ran inside and I got my old Pentax camera from the 70s and I took this picture. Now, if you see my cursor, you could see that wire. You can see it in this picture. Now, these trees are, if you go back and look at the trees, you see the trees around this apartment building? They're taller. They're a little taller than the building. These trees to the left are the ones that are photographed on that day. Let's go back to the photo. So you can see that the trees here are taller than a two-story building, which is about the height of a lamppost or what they call telephone poles. So, the wires, any wires that were like normal, they wouldn't be any taller than those trees. But you can see here in this photo that wire is way higher than those trees. And it's hard to gauge how high that wire is. You guys, this is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to finish this story, then I'm going to get to shout outs. If there's anyone here, I hope there is. And we're Right now, I can't see the comments for some reason, but I will in a minute. You know, it's hard to gauge how high this wire is up in the sky. And if you look close, you can see there's like a, you see that right there? It looks like a connector or something. This was a wire, people. Or if it wasn't a wire, it was a physical object going all the way across the sky. I couldn't figure it out then or now what in the world it is. And I've always wanted to tell this story to you guys, but this photograph was stored away and I just dug it out the other night. Um, and these two dots here, pay no mind to those dots. That's just to do with the sunlight and the camera lens. There's nothing that high in Albuquerque that could have been suspending a wire. What in the world is that thing? Looking back, I regret not getting in my car and following it, so to speak. But this thing really makes me wonder, you know. I'm glad I got this photo. This happened in 1991 or 92. And someone asked me recently, what's the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life? And I couldn't answer because I've seen so many. And I said, one of these days, I'm going to have to make a list. But this thing right here, people, this is as crazy as anything I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen craziness, crazy things in my life, many of them in the skies, up in the sky. And I think it's relevant now to show you guys this now, even though this happened back in 91 or 92. Because right now in 2025, there's craziness, crazy things in the sky, and they're being reported all the time. Really makes you wonder. When I see this, well, let me finish telling you. This was in the late afternoon, right? Or in the afternoon. And I kept checking on it throughout the day. And when it got towards dusk, it was really hard to see it. When it was nighttime, totally impossible to see. So I told myself, I will check first thing in the morning. But I just knew it wouldn't be there. And I was right. The next day, it was gone. Never seen it. I never saw it again. And I've never seen anything like this in my whole life. Now this way, this direction is pointed towards the west, and then the top left angle is towards the east. That's towards Kirtland Air Force Base, and it's just a couple of miles away from the Air Force Base. But there's no structures that high on base. And it really makes you wonder, people, what the hell is this thing? Sometimes I think maybe there is a dome overhead. And maybe this thing was supposed to be secured tightly to the ceiling of the dome. And for whatever reason, it fell off or fell down for a bit. It didn't fall all the way to the ground, but is that what's going on? Is there a dome overhead, people? Is there electronics to do with this dome? Because when I look at this thing, it seems to me to be like some kind of electronic wire. But for all I know, it's not even a wire. I don't know what that thing is. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was at least 150 feet in the air, maybe 300 feet. Let's go back to the other photo there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right. Let me see if I can bring up the chat here. Okay, there it is. Pushing Buttons is here. Nate is here. Good to see you guys. God bless. Hope everything's cool. Let's move on to something else that I want to share with you on video. This hoodie looks. And Push, we were talking about how the stars and the orbs have kind of gone away. The skies look kind of normal, but the orbs are back. I was watching last night and a few nights before. They are back. 4 a.m. is a good time to see them, people. Just look up in the sky and be patient. I lay out in my lawn chair and just kind of look and look. And yeah, it doesn't take long before I start seeing the orbs. Last night I saw 4 of them in just half an hour. I'm going to share my screen, show you guys something else that. Okay, have you guys heard of this pretty popular video going around called The Discovery? And it's to do with people looking at a laser light, and perhaps you have to have a hit of DMT from a vape. Have you guys seen this? That's for real. People are claiming that if you look at the laser after taking that DMT hit, you could see coding, little like deliberately drawn out glyphics. And again, this kind of points to maybe like an electronic world that we're living in, perhaps. Um, and Push says he's seen a couple of orbs. Yeah, they're back. They are back. And if you guys haven't seen this Discovery video, it's simply called The Discovery, and it'll come up. Just look for. I don't want to press play because of copyrights. I tend to attract copyright hassle from YouTube, so I'm not going to press play. I'm just going to share with you another image of something. Um, Here's another thing that this really might be nothing at all. This is one of my airplane videos. And you can see I'm zooming in on the moon here um, with my cheap Samsung tablet camera. And it's not coming out as clear here. But the glow around the moon also has glyphics. And you can kind of see them the more you look here. Um, and, I don't know. I would think that a cheap camera filming a moon glow would have blurriness and sort of distorted pixelation, fuzziness. But here we have like glyphics. You can see them if you look really up close here, but uh, just something to think about. There, you can kind of see them there. Well, you can see them quite clearly there. It's probably nothing, but you never know. Is this cheap camera picking up something that we can't see, like that laser that we can't see with the naked eye? Okay. And the third weird thing I want to share with you guys is this. And I want you to do this. I'm not going to ask. You won't be tested. But I'm going to encourage you guys to do this. You see the moon here in the picture? Let me make sure. Yeah. And you see my cursor here. To the left of the moon, like 2 moon lengths to the left of the full moon. If you go out at night, you guys, and focus your eyes just next to the moon, I always do it to the left, right where the cursor is, and try to focus your eyes completely on the area where the cursor is. Do not look at the moon directly. Just look next to the moon directly. It's harder than it sounds. So it might take you a few attempts. But if you do what I'm telling you, after 30 seconds or maybe 90 seconds, the moon will start wiggling around and kind of dancing. But if you move your eyes and look at the moon directly, it'll stop moving and it'll just look normal. But if you focus your eye, your vision, just next to the moon, you will see with your peripheral vision the moon dancing around. Now, I've tried this with other objects that are far away and it doesn't work, including a hot air balloon, because as you know, there's balloons in Albuquerque all the time. So there's that. I want you guys to try that. Just look next to the moon, focus your eyes directly on that spot. Don't move from that spot, from looking at that spot. It might take up to 2 minutes, but probably after just 30 seconds, you'll start to see that move, that moon move. So I don't know what that is. I'm sure science could explain that away with some kind of gobbledygook, right? It's what they do. Push says he's seen the code before. For some reason, I'm not able to bring comments on screen. I'm sorry about that. Nate says, I saw Jake the Asshole play it. Yeah, I saw that show last week. Highly recommended, people. Check that out. That would have been Tuesday the 22nd on the Jake the Asshole channel. That was a good show. He's been making a lot of great shows lately. But yeah, he talked about this, the discovery, the laser beam. DJ Emo is here. Welcome. David is here. Welcome, man. Saddlebum, welcome. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's the main thing these days is just keep looking at the sky and change, right? Change is in the air. Can you feel it, people? Change is in the air. People are talking about it too. YouTube has been censoring my art. I went to my channel and clicked videos. There was only 1 or 2 10-second art show videos. And there should be 20. in the video section and around 20 in the shorts section. So if you want to see my art, you have to go to my channel and hit playlist. Because if you try to find them in the video section, for some reason, they're not there. I don't know why YouTube is so... Why would they censor my art? I could understand where they're coming from when they censor me telling you guys all these truths. But, my little drawings are being censored. Jeez. David says, I think there's a machinery. It's starting to... Oh, look. All right. Getting the comment on screen. Good. It's crazy. Like I was just assumed that this world was organic and that was that. But I see things that make me wonder, things in the sky. Again, let me share that photo one more time. I told a story at the beginning of this show, people. I don't know if anyone was here to hear that story, but I'm not going to go over the whole thing again. I'm just going to show you this photograph that I took back in 1991 or 92. When I walked outside one day, just for some fresh air, I looked up and I saw this white colored wire or something stretched across the sky. It seemed to be 300 feet in the sky. It could have been as low as 150 feet. But these trees that it is obviously much higher than, these trees are the size of a 2-story building, a little taller than a 2-story building. And that's about the height of a normal lamp post. There's no objects in Albuquerque that high that could have been holding up that wire if it was a wire. What was it? Was it something that fell down off the dome? The next morning, this thing was gone. So it was removed under the cover of darkness. I've never seen anything like that again. I've never heard of anything like this. And I don't know that it was a wire. I don't know what else to call it. But there it was, stretched across Albuquerque. And I'm glad I had film in the camera at the time. I'm glad I was able to take this picture. The sun looks a little different too, doesn't it? 1991, 1992. That might just be the film in the old camera. It was a 70s Pentax camera. But there it was, man. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my whole life. I'm glad I could share that with you guys. I hope you guys can see it too. There it is a bit closer. And there seems to be this, like, almost seems like a connector right there. I could look at this thing all day long. It's funny too, the way I snapped one photo and that was that. And I don't remember having a conversation with anyone about this. And I wish I had gotten in my car and followed it, so to speak, but there it is. Thanks, DJ. Thank you for checking out the art. Why would they censor your art? That's weird, bro. Yeah, it is. But this world is so artificial and awful, and they don't want good art reaching the people. My art is hand-drawn. It might have been you, David, that pointed out to me that it has an old school feel to it, my art, my drawings. I don't draw on computer. I draw with pen on paper. My drawings aren't technically the greatest thing in the world, but they give people a good feeling. They do what great art is supposed to do. And the evil establishment doesn't doesn't want great art reaching the people. The videos will show on shorts. Well, there should be 38 of them, and I counted much less than that in the shorts section. That's good advice. Thanks. Maybe another channel is the thing to do. Yeah, that sounds good, Dave. Well, let's do a fill in the blank for old time's sakes before we call it a day. And if you don't want to play, then we'll just call it a day. I have one here that's pretty fun, but I don't think I've said this one before. Okay, ready? The most famous advertising mascot is blank. The most famous advertising mascot is blank. Call for Zero is here. Welcome, man. We should show some Call for Zero video. I like that one you did, this most recent one with those bodysuits where people glide around. It looks so dangerous. Looks fun. We got Mickey Mouse, Uncle Sam, good answer. Pillsbury Doughboy. Call for Zero. The most famous advertising mascot is blank. Ronald McDonald. Hamburger. I'll say Cheap Mike. Anyone in Albuquerque would get that if they were here 30 years ago. Cheap Mike used to make cheap commercials for his, what was it? Was it a pawn shop? I think it was a pawn shop. Cheap Mike. And he would have a t-shirt with a big M on it and a towel for a cape, and he would pretend to fly on his commercials. Those wonderful local grade B commercials. You guys know I love those things. All right, let's show that thing from Call for Zero, and then we'll get out of here. Hey, Cole, I hope you watched the beginning of this video. I told a crazy story regarding the photo that's on screen right now. But all right, this is a 90-second video. I'm going to mute it so we don't hear the music. I just want to be careful with copyrights. What's the temperature, people? Is it raining anywhere? 66 in Albuquerque, no clouds. Bear with me just a second. All right. Took, 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 took a whirl. Took, took, took a whirl. Took, took, took a whirl. Took, 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 took a whirl. Took, took, took a whirl. Took, took, took a whirl. Took, took. As I walk through this world, nothing can stop the Duke of Earl. And you are my hero, and no one can hurt you. Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna love you. Oh, come on, let me hold you, darling, 'cause I'm the Duke of Earl. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah, ooh, ooh, ooh. Haven't seen that video. Never heard of it either. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. 74 in Vegas. Nice. 80 in East Texas. Very nice. Oh, man. Cool. Cool. Well, I just wanted to come on. I'm going to call it a night. You guys all be safe. Have fun. Have a blast. You know the deal. And we'll come at you again sometime. I've been feeling like making shows again, so maybe I'll do a random show one of these nights. Take care. Thanks for joining me, everyone. We'll see you next time.